Hey, welcome back. I have a knife here. I got to take a look and make sure it's what I think it might be. It'd be kind of surprising if it is, because I wouldn't expect this to be here yet, but let's get into it. This is just in from CJRB, or Artisan Cutlery rather. It's the website's Artisan Cutlery. And I ordered something from there like just a few days ago, so I'd be kind of surprised if that's what it was, but let me just take this off screen real quick in case there's any private info on here. And I think it looks like there's going to be. Super simple packaging as usual for them. Yeah, and I think this is what I think it is, which is awesome. I haven't seen many reviews on this yet. I think it like just came out, and someone pinged me that it was posted on the website. I can't remember which one of my friends. I think I know who it was. Appreciate that he sent this, and yeah, wow, look at that. It's already here. Whoa, cool. So this is the new Pyrite. Glad I picked the Pyrite for the opening there. Thought it might be, but wow, cool. Ah, sweet. God, these are just such good knives. Look at that. That's right out of box. You know, I give a lot of criticism to knives, but like, you know, when this is possible, then that sets a standard. When this is $50, $60, I think it was on their website, and I'm sure from some websites this will start being $50 or something like that. Man, it really just sets a standard on what you expect when a knife comes out of box and it's this intuitive and, you know, this good. So that's awesome. So what are the things that I'm excited about for this knife? There's not a lot of differences from the prior one, and that's great because the prior one was awesome. You can see here just the little part number on there, and then the RPM 9. So same powder formed sort of budget knife steel. If I recall correctly, RPM 9 is 14C28N, but powder formed, which is really great, stainless steel. Nice little stonewash finish on here, and then the same great handle that you had before, which again is like for the dollars, it's insanely good. So slightly different grind. Nah, it's actually the same now I look at it. Same grind, so like probably like a 90% grind or so. Plenty of room for the sharpening on the choil. And yeah, this is everything that the prior one was, but it's a, you know, a thumb hole and a sheepsfoot blade instead of a drop point, which, you know, is just a really cool add to their line, and it really goes out after, you know, I think this type of style knife right here. If I'm being honest, I wish it also had like a little thumb stud, because when the choil, or not the choil, but the fuller is that small, there's not a lot to get there. So to be able to have it kind of pinch on your finger, and especially with the thumb flick, to be able to have a thumb stud on there is kind of advantageous. Like that's the one thing I'm noticing is the thumb. There's not a lot, like where you want to put your thumb, it's not quite carved out enough. Like this would need to be carved back like another 1/4 inch to give you really good access to the for the thumb flick there. Totally doable, but it's not quite as accessible as, you know, like the SPK Lumia. Of course I miss it there. This is just a little more accessible here because it's a little wider than this is. So like I wish this was a little wider, but I understand this is really focused on the Spidey flick, and it does that great. This one happens to have a very strong detent. This one does also, this other steel one. So it's kind of interesting that both my steel ones had strong detent, and then I had set this out because I had a feeling this might be this knife. This one has a really light detent. This is this White Mountain Knives exclusive with the G Mascus finish. It has a really light detent, almost too light. I'd say too light, probably. Yeah, for sure, too light. Whereas these, you know, it can come out, but this one's not coming out. So I bet most of you probably won't get one that has as strong of a detent, and the thumb flick probably won't be that hard to do, but mine is a little bit hard to do, and it's hard to say if that'll break in or not. But strong detent and kind of hard to access thumb hole is a pretty tough combo. If you really push down on it, focus, and pop forward, you get it. But you really have to focus a lot more than I have to on this one. On this one, I almost never miss this thumb stud. as you can see, pretty freaking good. So this is good. It's really good for the Spidey flick. It feels fantastic for the Spidey flick. The positioning's just right. Like, I don't need it to be further down or anything. I've noticed with some knives, they'll put the thumb hole in just the wrong spot and you have to like feel like you're going up too high or something. So the thumb hole position's fantastic. Centering's a little off on this one. A little off to the show side slightly. Not a huge off center issue, but just slightly, you can see there. But not a big deal. And actually, because it's off to the show side and because you're going to be putting pressure on this while deploying it a lot, well, I don't know, I guess if you're deploying from the Spidey flick side, you're going to be putting reverse pressure. But I was going to say it might just even out, but never like to see that when it's not perfectly centered. That's not ideal. So I'll call it out, even though I'm a fan of the Pyrite. Not shy to, you know, call it out when things aren't quite right. But yeah, really excited to see this model come out. I'd say, you know, it takes one of the best budget knives ever made, and it makes it even more compelling for the people that prefer, you know, a Spydiehole / thumbhole and or a Sheepsfoot blade. In fact, you know what? Why don't I go ahead and try this out, because let's check out the edge. The edge feels really nice. One of the things that I do more than, you know, anything else with my knife is open up packages or break down boxes. And I happen to have a package here, and it's a big one. So let's go ahead and give this a try and see how this new blade feels, because I've certainly got some experience with both the Demkos as well as the standard Pyrite, you know, blade shape, doing unboxings and stuff. Yeah, really nice. Yep, just right in there with like one of the Demkos. It's a little, it's not quite as intuitive, and the blade length is kind of longer, I think, or maybe it's the jimping. Yeah, the blade shape's just a little different. Like the jimping on here is a little nicer on the Demko, admittedly. But, you know, it's not bad. Again, $50 versus, you know, $150. So I think it'd be, and one's made in Taiwan, one's made in China. But yeah, did a great job of unboxing that and felt great. So not as good. You know, aside from that, I wonder if this jimping's the same as it was on the prior one. I'm kind of looking at that, and it looks, yeah, it looks a little different. I wish it had the jimping from the prior one. That one ran a little further down the blade. Thought something felt a little different there. Assume this is the same as this one. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting that they shortened up the jimping. I would, you know, not sure why they would take one notch. It's literally looks like it's the same jimping, but one less notch, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Or two less notches. Sorry, I had my thumb over it. I couldn't see it. Two less notches. So that's, you know, not ideal. That'd be, you know, an opportunity for improvement if they can just make 2 more notches. In fact, just go even a little further than that. Why not? But that's kind of interesting that they took that away. It feels like a little less sure in hand than the thumb stud version. The thumb stud version, to me, just feels a little more sure in hand for some reason. Not sure what that is exactly, but it just feels a little... My button's a little stickier on this one too, which I haven't really seen on any of their others. It's super smooth. These are really broken in though, so it's kind of hard to remember what they were like when they were new, but hit it really hard and see how it is. It's not bad. It's not nearly as bad as some of the other ones I've seen, but there's a little pop there you can hear. But man, how crazy is that for $50? Just being that drop shut. So good. So cool. You can walk it open okay. I'm sure again, as that detent starts to loosen up, it'll be even easier, but you can walk it open pretty well there. Again, you really need to get a purchase on that thumb stud for it to come out. If you give it a little extra flick like that, it's a little easier, but it's not perfect. I wish they'd done something a little different there to make that work a little better, but it's not bad. It's just not perfect. That's not its strength, that's for sure. A lot of people would be like, what is wrong with you? Like, it's fine. But I'm just giving like the, my opinion based on my experience with other thumb holes. I think it's better than the Oz Roosevelt. The Oz Roosevelt's, to me, like one of the more awkward thumb holes, and you pay a lot more money for it. So, sweet knife though. What else can I compare this to? By the way, I am at a slight disadvantage because I got a crack in the thumb there. So definitely this knife, the PM2 from Spydiehole. It's a very similar knife. I kind of wish they had just done that, given it just a little bump up there. It may have looked a little funny. They've done that on some other knives though, like the Devo Stout, where you give it a little extra room there so that the thumb can fit in it or whatever can fit in it a little better. I'd say, it doesn't really matter, but it could have been a nice little adjustment there for sure. But very, very competitive with this knife, I would say. This knife's one of the best I've felt in hand. It's really good feeling in hand on the sizing. And this thing's right up there with it, honestly. The only thing I don't like is this lack of jimping up here. I wish they'd, if anything, extended it beyond what the old one had on the jimping, let alone the fact they took it back. That is definitely a miss on the jimping there, but, not the biggest deal in the world, and you're splitting hairs at $50 if we're being honest. So very cool knife. Maybe let's do a quick weight comparison and length comparison, just to because I know this is going to be one of there have only been a few. I've only seen like Neves had one. I haven't even gotten to watch it yet, but I saw he put a pretty nice title on there. As I was walking in the room, I was like, has anyone even reviewed this thing? Like, how is this even here? 3.65 ounces versus 3.7. So probably just taking the thumb studs out saved a fraction. That's probably what that is. I think this thing is like 2.9 or something. 2.7 with the G Mascus. Yeah, pretty sweet. Very much, very compelling for EDC, man. Very, very compelling. Wow. They did it again for sure. I was a little concerned. I was like, oh man, could they like somehow screw up this just fantastic action? Because I've had a couple other knives from them where I was not super impressed with the action, but that's going well. One of the other things I'll tell you that was great, I had sworn myself off of buying from their website because they ship with FedEx and I lost a package, and their customer support sucks. Frankly, I'd always try and buy their knives from some other website, like a Knife Center. Let's not say Knife Center. Let's say, Knife Center's fine, whatever. Knife Center, Blade, Blade HQ, DLT Trading. White Mountain Knives is like my favorite, probably. If I can get a knife from them, I'll pretty much always buy from White Mountain Knives. Knife Joy. There's some really good websites out there that just offer great support. Their website is terrible to buy from. I would not buy from their website, but I saw this on there and bam, just grabbed it really quick. Next day, I was seeing that the knives were listed as pre-order. So I was like, did I get a pre-order? I couldn't even remember if I actually got a buy or a pre-order, but this one was shipped with USPS and it got here in the, crazy 2 days that USPS has been shipping with lately. 2-3 days since I bought it. So very excited to get that in hand so quickly. It's really great. So I just gotta, I've obviously said that I've concerned with their support, but to see a little turnaround there, it looked like maybe they were using like a drop ship partner or something, like they're sending the knives to someone in the US that was sending the knives off or something like that. That seems to be working better than whatever they were doing before with FedEx. So good to see that coming from USPS. Aside from that, I think I'll just do like a quick close-up and we can call it 15 minutes here. So let's learning my new videography skills here. So very nice. I just really like the finish they put on this thing. All the stone washing from head to toe. It's a beautiful knife. It'd be cool if they did some texturing on this, but you know, add 25 bucks or whatever and put some texture in. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers at this price. It's really a great knife for the price. So, you know, teach their own. Not everyone wants to buy from China, but, you know, someone commented on one of my things today, and, you know, slave labor, and I'm like, tell me you're posting from, not posting from a device made in China, right? Like, I get supporting local when you can, for sure. Like, they don't make iPhones in the US, so I get that with knives. But, you know, let's be somewhat realistic here. It's a global economy at this point, and, you know, most of our devices and stuff are made in China, if not parts of your car and whatever else, the shoes you're wearing. You know, you can't get overly emotional about like just one part of your life. It's a little silly. So anyway, please like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.